Yesterday was a very exciting day. I was waiting for weeks. Israel was going to land a rocket on the moon. That's really cool. It's really cool. Only 3 other countries have done this. The US, Russia, China, Israel. And we put it on the big screens, you're all watching. Some of us were watching during Mincha. And they had that little thing with the altitude going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, getting there, getting there, getting there. And suddenly there was confusion. And I had no clue what was going on because I had to rush to davening. I couldn't hear what they were talking about. And then they published a little selfie. And then they said that the rocket crashed. It did get onto the moon, but it crashed into the moon. It lost communication. It almost made it. And then one of the engines failed. And Israel had, as someone, I won't say, texted me, that was awkward. That was hard. So what's the message to us? So let me tell you about my favorite part of the Pesach Seder. Probably not yours, but mine, because I'm really hungry then. And I get to eat a little tiny potato. Some of you get to eat a piece of parsley. If you're really lucky, your family has an onion. What am I talking about? Karpas. It's so awesome. We're so hungry. We've waited for hours for the meal. We get a potato. They say, don't eat too much. It's got to be really small. And you can dip it in salt water. So what's the meaning of this karpas? So there's a really interesting Rashi about Yosef. When Yaakov gives Yosef the Getonet Pasim, that coat of many colors, the Technicolor dream coat, Rashi says, you know what the word Getonet Pasim means? It comes from Megillat Esther, and it means, take a guess, karpas. Because Megillat Esther described that the draperies were karpas, it means fine linen wool. The Rambam actually goes, you don't dip the karpas into salt water. This would be awesome. Actually, I'd love this. And if you're Yemenite, you're really lucky. Because Yemenite dip their karpas into charoses. We all love charoses. Charoses, which looks a lot, dipping the karpas into charoses or even into salt water is a lot like what the brothers did when they threw off Yosef's coat, threw him into a pit, and they dipped the coat into blood. And then they told Yaakov, Yosef is no longer. Karot Karat Yosef. Yosef couldn't eat it up. He's gone. What's the connection? Why would we talk at the very beginning of the Seder about Yosef? Yosef is not it's a great story, but it's a story with a happy ending, but lots of downs. Yosef is he's a great person. His brothers throw him into a pit. He becomes a slave in Potiphar's house. He quickly becomes the greatest slave. They love him. And then he's accused of a crime, and he winds up in another pit in jail. And then he gets out of jail finally. He becomes the prince of Egypt. The brothers come. But even then, even when Yosef is the prince, he never gets to leave Mitzrayim, even at his death, only years later when they leave Egypt. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. Not like you see at Mitzrayim where we get out. What's the message? It's the message of the rocket that landed on the moon but really crashed. It's the message Bibi Netanyahu said in English, the only words he said in English. If you listen to him, what did he say after the rocket crashed? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Those were his exact words. That sometimes, even when we're trying to accomplish something great, actually not sometimes, all the time, there's going to be a lot of setbacks. There's going to be a lot of events you would rather not have. But once you get to the redemption, once Israel launches their second rocket, which hopefully will land on the moon, which, by the way, I heard a rumor that they're going to name it Shemot. The first one was Bereshit. And they'll maybe get to their geula of landing the rocket on the moon, because the setbacks are actually the way to learn for the future, to grow. Like the Pesach story. We wouldn't have gotten to Egypt, and we wouldn't have gotten out of Egypt, and we wouldn't have gotten the Torah at Har Sinai if the brothers hadn't thrown Yosef into a pit and taken the coat and dipped it into blood. And that's why at the beginning of the Seder, who do we remember?
Yes.
Yosef. When we take our karpas, hopefully you're lucky and it's a potato and not a piece of parsley. I like the potatoes. And we dip it into the salt water. Maybe you're really lucky, you dip it into karoses. And we recall the fact that every redemption, every geula, always starts with a setback, a yerida v'sorech aliyah. First we have to go down so that we can ultimately go up. First we have to crash land on the moon, and then hopefully we'll soft land on the moon.